I shouted, standing in the woods, and then I thought to myself, my God, what if no one comes to save me? I was ready to accept my fate. And then something happened. I'm Miura from Madagascar. It's not really that I want to be like my crazy sister. It just happened. It was a forced measure. I've always been different in my upbringing. My mother raised me alone. My father was long gone. All in all, we had a good life until my mother decided to remarry. The whole hellish situation began that very day. Mom briefly told me over the phone that we were in for a serious talk in the evening and sent me a text message with the address where I would need to come in the evening at 7. Ouch! I yelled. My crazy classmate Zoe walked by. She shoved me with her shoulder, and instead of apologizing, she said, "Watch where you're going, you blind girl." She'd always been like that. An awfully rude girl, unlike me, who was a diligent student. My phone fell out of my hands on impact, and I wanted to pick it up, but Zoe beat me to it. "Let's see who's texting you." "Give it back. It's my phone." "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa. Nerd. Somebody invited you to the resto? That's a cool place, by the way. I'm going there tonight, too. Maybe I'll see you there." Try to stay out of my face. What did I ever do to you? Why do you hate me? Zoe took another step closer to me and whispered through her teeth, "People like you are a disadvantage to people like me. Parents want their kids to be like the best students in the class. It pisses me off. I don't want to be you. I want to be me. It's not me. It's your parents' fault, don't you think?" "What did you say?" "If your parents want you to be like me, doesn't that mean you're worse?" "I'm gonna kick your teeth in for this. And don't you ever mention my parents again. Got it, nerd?" The other guys took her away. Zoe threw my phone on the floor and broke the glass. I picked it up and hurried home to get ready for tonight. If this was going to be a serious conversation, I had to look my best. So I pulled out my best strict dress, washed, dried, ironed it to perfection, then showered, washed my hair thoroughly, and put it in a ponytail. I arrived at 6:50 p.m., stood at the door for another 5 minutes, and then went inside. My mother was waiting for me on the top floor of the restaurant. I sat down at the table, took out the menu, and a man came up to us. "Miura." "Yes, hello. I would like a strawberry smoothie, seafood pasta, and a spinach salad, please." "Honey, but—" "Oh, yes, I completely forgot. Hurry up, please. I have to have my last meal in 15 minutes. The man coughed and smiled, and Mom suddenly stood next to him and took him under her arm. "This is my fiancé, Eric." From embarrassment, excitement, and confusion, I was silent for a while, and then I remembered the rules of etiquette. "I'm so sorry about that. I didn't know. I'm Miura, the daughter of your not fiancé." "I'm sorry, I have a tickle in my throat." "My bad, I'm sorry. I should have told you I had a man. I just wasn't up to it." "It's okay, Mom."
"Hello, Miura. I've heard about you. Now I've finally seen how beautiful you are in real life. Just like your mother."
"Thank you. Why don't we all sit down?" Even though I was so fucking shocked, you must admit the situation is very creepy. But what could I do? I had to be nice. The food had already been served. We were having a casual conversation, and I heard the word daughter. "Excuse me, do you have a child?"
"Yes, I have a daughter. She's the same age as you, and I think you go to the same school."
"Wow, I can't wait to meet her."
"That's so sweet of you, Miura."
"What's her name?" "Father, I'm here." "You ordered me a medium rare steak?" Someone very loud came into the restaurant and disrupted my harmony with my pasta. The man stood up and was like,
"Daughter, hi, you're here."
When I turned around, I saw her. "You?" My mom and stepdad got up from the table because Zoe and I were so shocked. Of all the girls at my school, she was the one who became my stepsister. That was trash. After that, the only people talking all night were my parents. We didn't have time for that. Zoe was picking at her phone, and I was pretending to be busy eating. You know, I'd never had a more uncomfortable situation in my life than this. After all, my parents got us together for a reason. They had already set a date for the wedding, which was at the same restaurant a week later. I did my best to pretend to be busy studying, but it didn't work. I still had to show up, as did Zoe. When confronted in the bathroom during the wedding ceremony, she pinned me against the wall and said, "If you so much as mention to anyone at school that we became sisters, I'll kill you." I took her hands away and said, I don't want to tarnish my reputation with our blood tie, especially since, by blood, we're not sisters and never will be. Our family moved into a bigger house that my stepfather bought. I was glad we each had our own room.